But I started thinking about a movie that came out a long time ago. And the movie reminded me because I was thinking about when I was at COD, one of the things I learned in journalism, as a journalism major, is that stories stick. Sometimes people don't always remember all the facts, but they remember the story. So I would encourage you to develop your story, okay? And you know, you take all your experiences and that's what you're gonna use to sell people when you're looking for a job, right? And the story I thought of was, it was a great storyteller named Steven Spielberg. Everybody heard of Steven Spielberg? Well, one of his early successes was, he took a book called Jaws and he turned it into a movie. And there's three things he wanted to do with that. He wanted to make a great movie, and he succeeded. He wanted to scare the hell out of everybody, and he did. and he wanted to make a lot of money, and he did that too. So I'm thinking about the movie Jaws, and I'm thinking about what happened after he scared millions and millions of people with this movie. And it's really close to us because what we do, right? I take people in swimming pools, I take them in lakes, I take them in quarries, and I take them in the ocean, and inevitably everybody goes, did you see sharks? You know what I mean? They're afraid of sharks, right? So he scares everybody, and this fear that he caused in millions of people translated, unfortunately, into unintended consequences, and that is the death or murder of millions and millions of sharks. So the fear that he caused in people caused these unintended consequences that affected millions of creatures. Now, that book could have been about bald eagles, it could have been about timber wolves, it could have been about polar bears, and what happens is sharks were demonized, right? And it created this fear. And the fear created this consequence. And when you're looking for a job and you're out there, fear is one of the great things that can paralyze you, right? So it not only has unintended consequences sometimes it can paralyze you. There are times, I'll tell you, when I left the media business and I thought about, you know, I said I left a six-figure income to start a nonprofit and not draw a salary. I lay there for a couple of days going, what the heck did I do, right? So that was fear paralyzing me. And some of the ways that I deal with fear, she'll tell you I do this all the time. Three things I try to do to deal with fear is, one is I show up. So 90% of success, and this is really important, is showing up, okay? When you don't want to get up in the morning, you know, you go, God, I don't feel like going in for that interview. Show up, because 90% of success is showing up. Second is I always remember there was a guy back when I was in school called Bruce Lee, and he was a real famous karate guy. And he said that in the battle between the stream and the mountain, the stream, sorry guys, the stream always wins, okay, because of perseverance, okay? Eventually the stream gets through the mountain. So I thought, you know, if I show up and I persevere, I'm ahead of the game, right? Okay, the third thing is you always miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So don't be afraid of failure. Take the shot, okay? Because you only fail if you don't try, all right? So that's how I would attack fear. And in the world today, having a story creates fear. And then unintended consequences is a powerful thing to think about. So don't let fear stop you. So that's kind of how I deal with fear, and that's one of the big things that I would want to pass along to you today. And I think that if you had homework, if I were to give you a homework assignment, I'd say go home and rent Jaws, okay, and watch that movie, okay? And then when you're sitting there afraid, I want you to think about the unintended consequences that it can have in the world, and then attack it, get in its face, show up, and then be the stream, right? Persevere, and don't be afraid to take the shot. Thanks. Sorry, Steve.